Hey, how's it going? So we're getting pretty close to another drift event, one of the final ones for the year around here, and I said that I would make a video doing a drift overview on the truck, so that's what I'm here to do. Let's get into it. Let's start it under the hood. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I have a KA24ET, which means KA24, single overhead cam, KA, with a turbo that I installed. This is what it looks like. It gets a little bit more power than stock. I would say probably noticeably more power than stock. And I'm running this truck on 8 pounds of boost, which is definitely just enough to get this thing to spin tires and to spin out and drift. So definitely recommend a little bit of a power add over the stock KA, although you can definitely get the job done on a stock KA. Looking at the front suspension, the most important thing you can do here is lower your truck and get it off of bump stops. So this truck is torsion bar lowered, which means the torsion bars have just been relaxed and it's dropped the front end, and the bump stops have been cut out. I'll go ahead and insert some photos of the bump stop cutting out process. Importantly, once those bump stops are cut out and you're lowered, you're able to run a shorter shock. You can see that KYB gas adjust in there. That is a shock originally designed for a Mustang 2 or Ford Pinto, but it is short, has its own bump stop, and fits in here nicely. To give yourself a little bit more angle on the hard bodies, you can cut out the steering stops. Steering stops, you can see that V-looking shape of metal right there. That is the steering stop where it originally goes, and it has been cut out. Now, this gives you a little bit more angle in the front, although not the optimal amount of angle that you would want. Moving briefly onto the wheels and tires I have on this truck. On the front, I have these 18-inch Nissan Titan rims, and they have a actually kind of nice tire, a Continental Extreme Contact, and that size is 235/45. Obviously, it's an 18-inch rim, like I said. And I run these all the time, driving, drifting, whatever. They're just kind of nice to have up there, and nothing rubs or anything, so I just leave them on. Moving to the back. For just cruising and driving, I have a full set of the steel Titan rims that I have up front. But for the back, especially for drifting, I have these Toyota Tacoma wheels. And these wheels are aluminum, and I just like that they're a bit lighter. They're also a 16. So this tire is, I just have old tires that I run on the drift track right now. So this is a 235/50 R16, just old, kind of getting a bit dry, Cooper Cobra that I have just, honestly, just to get rid of and to use. But yeah, it does work. Moving now to the rear of the truck, again, lowering is your best friend for this. This truck has been lowered both with a lowering block that sits right between the axle and the top of the leaf spring here. You can see it right in there. And it has also been re-drilled. So your front leaf spring mount, which is right up there, originally would come down lower. On this truck, that has been cut off, and then a new hole has been drilled higher up. This also definitely adds some low, as we say. Another important mod back here is the sway bar. This is a 3/4 inch Beltec sway bar that they make for the hardbody. It comes with all the clamps and the bar and the end links and bushings that you need to install on your truck. And another trick that I have back here for my rear suspension setup is these leaf spring clamps, and I'll go ahead and give you guys a close-up on those. These clamps are very simply pieces of flat metal, 3/16" thick metal, with holes drilled in them and bolts running through them to clamp the leaf springs back here together. This just adds some stiffness and some rigidity to the rear of the truck, and it was something that I had to add in order to get this truck to pass tech inspection at my track. This may vary, but for me this works quite well. While I'm still down here, I'll add these shocks are a Gabriel truck shock. I don't remember the exact name of them, but they are actually made for a Nissan Quest, which, if you don't know, is a minivan. But because I have the re-drilled leaf spring, it does shorten that distance a little bit, and it is just kind of nice having that shorter shock that's more within its range of motion, And again, like I said, it is a truck shock, so it does just fine. A couple of other key factors that I had to add for drifting, as per the tech inspection sheet, is battery terminal covers, a secure battery hold down, and reservoir socks. The reservoir socks are probably not necessary for the hard body, but they are recommended, and they are definitely required for most S chassis. So seeing as a lot of this stuff is shared with the S chassis, I went ahead and put reservoir covers on mine. That's honestly all I have done on this truck. As you can see, the interior is stock. I do have a just-in-case fire extinguisher hidden in the glove box because I don't have it mounted yet. But yeah, bare bones, simple drift truck. So yeah, those are really the only mods that I have on this truck right now for basic drifting. Lower it all the way around, stiffen up the suspension, and cut the steering stops for a little extra angle. That's your important stuff. What's important is that you do it as well as you can. So there are better ways to lower the front suspension, but this way works pretty well. But it's obviously better than just cranking the bars down and bumping on the bump stops all the time. I'll go ahead and talk briefly about some more drift mods that I have planned for later on. One of those is I have a lead on some cut knuckles for this truck. So that'll give me more steering angle than I have right now, which would be very helpful because this thing is kind of a handful to control, and I think that extra steering would definitely be of use. I also have a good lead and plan on some front coilovers for this truck with fairly minimal fab work. So if I can get that to work and be as affordable as it looks like it might be, that would be really cool, and I'll definitely be sharing that if I get to that. So definitely plans for the front end. I don't currently have any more plans for the rear end. I'm pretty happy with the fact that it passes tech and it doesn't wheel hop or axle hop or anything like that. It stays pretty planted, so I'm happy with that. The turbo is a little laggy for what I'm trying to do. I definitely have to focus on keeping my revs up high, which is a bit of a challenge being new to this. And if I don't keep the revs up, then it just doesn't hold boost because this turbo is just a little bit too big. But other than that, the only new thing done to the truck that will be kind of tested at this next drift event is a blow-off valve, which you cannot see from up here because it's down there. You can kind of see the top of it maybe, but I'll get into that more later because I don't fully know how all that is going to work for this truck. So anyway, we'll focus more on that later. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Waybar? Good night.